Hey everyone, welcome to How to Fix Your Slow Windows PC Computer. My name is Dave Glick, owner of Glick's Mobile Computer Repair and Business IT Services right here in Phoenix, Arizona. We will be discussing the most common causes for a slow computer and how to fix them. We will not get into malware and viruses at this time because there's not enough time here for that content. However, we will provide that information in another video. I hope you're looking forward to some good information on how to fix a slow computer, and I am ready to give that information to you. So to start out with, why does a computer get slow? It can get slow for a lot of reasons. One of them is because as the computer works, it builds up a lot of temporary files over the course of time, and it puts those files not only in the Windows temp folder, but also in a special temporary folder in your profile in Windows. And guess what? Those files never go away. So you can get thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of temporary files on your computer that actually slows your computer down, because Windows has to go through and figure out what files it needs when you make a request. And when you have all those hundreds of thousands of files on the computer, it's more that it has to sift through in the index to figure out what file you actually need at that time. Another reason that a computer can be very slow, and a lot of people will tell me, oh, my computer's really slow. What they really mean is the computer's really slow on the internet. A big cause of that is because people just browse and browse and browse and browse and browse, and as you browse, the computer is downloading all these little files in the cache. And again, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of files will end up in the cache, and it never gets cleaned up. So those files, whenever the browser is looking or goes to a web page and it's looking for pictures on that web page, it's looking through that cache. And if it can't find the pictures from the cache, then it goes and downloads them. So you can imagine that if you have just a few files in your cache, that it goes through that process pretty quickly. But if it has hundreds of thousands of files in that cache, it can be really, really, really super slow. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download and install CCleaner if you don't already have it on the computer. You can get that from a site called Puriform.com. So we go to Puriform and we click on the free download, and we click on download. And we're going to run that download. We're going to go ahead and click on install here. And it installs CCleaner. We can run it right from here, or we can run it from our start menu. We will go ahead and run it here. I strongly recommend that you just leave the defaults as it is. And then we can go ahead and click on Analyze and see what's there. It's saying, hey, Internet Explorer needs to be closed. We'll click yes. And as you can see, it comes up with the cache from Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. Temporary internet files. So I am going to go ahead and run CCleaner. And you can see that I don't have a whole lot of files built up at this point in time. But that's okay. I just want to show you how to use this. So I'm going to go ahead and run CCleaner right here. We click OK. We want to really delete those files. And it's done in a very short period of time. CCleaner does a really nice job in a really short period of time. Another really nice thing about CCleaner is it's not too aggressive and it's not under aggressive either. It pretty much does the right amount of cleaning for a computer. So it's kind of like the Goldilocks tale, you know, this bed's too big, this bed's too small, this bed's about right. Well, it's kind of like that. That's why a lot of technicians recommend CCleaner, and we recommend that you just leave it at the default settings. So now that we've cleaned that up, we are going to go ahead and move to the next thing. So we've cleaned up our browsers, we've cleaned up Windows, that's what CCleaner does. we're going to go ahead and start our task manager. The task manager gives us a lot of great information about how the computer is running right now. You can see that we have our CPU usage and our memory usage right here. These are very, very, very important metrics. When the CPU usage gets up to and at 100% for periods of time, it means that the computer is stretched out. It can't do anything more than what you have it doing. So if you open up another program while your CPU usage is up so high, the computer actually has to allocate the resources. It has to say, okay, well, we're going to give this amount of time to this program, this amount of time to this program, and this amount of time to this program. So if your CPU usage on your computer is very high all the time, that would be a very good reason why your computer is so slow. In order to get this back down to a reasonable amount, like probably, under 60% or 50%, and you can see right now that we're running at 18 to 20, 15 to 20 in that area. In order to get it down to under 50%, you're going to need to close some programs. You're going to need to figure out which programs are using the CPU time, and I'll show you that in just a minute. The next thing that we want to talk about is the memory usage. So the memory usage is never going to get up to 100%. However, it will get close. Once you get up past 75 to 80% of memory usage, Windows really starts allocating memory between the physical memory and the virtual memory, which is hard drive space. So your part of your hard drive is actually being used for your memory usage. The bad news is that hard drive read and write times and seek times are much slower than physical memory. As your memory usage gets up around 80, 85, 90%, Windows is stuffing more of that physical memory requirement into the virtual memory, which again is much slower. That's why your computer slows down a lot. Again, you need to figure out which programs are using up all that memory and either close those programs, or if it's a browser, close a bunch of tabs, etc., etc. This is the Performance tab, which, by the way, if you don't see these tabs right away, especially in Windows 10, there's a little button here that will, it's labeled Show More or something to that effect. Go ahead and click on that button and then you'll see these tabs in there. So this is the Performance tab. It also shows your physical amount of memory that you have installed on the computer, how much is in the cache, which is essentially memory that is being allocated, but it's not being used necessarily, and how much is available, and how much is actually free. Free is just not even, it's not being used at all. It's not cached, nothing. It also shows you a bunch of other numbers that really don't mean a whole heck of a lot, although your uptime is a very good thing because it shows you the number of days, hours, minutes, and seconds that your computer's been up. So if you have a Windows computer and it's been up for longer than a few days, it's a good time to restart it. And that's a really good other reason why a computer would be really super slow. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Processes tab here. And I'm going to click on the CPU heading so that it sorts by CPU. Now this is the time as a percentage that each particular process is taking of the CPU. Your CPU only has so much available processing time at any one time. So if all of your processes are using a total of 100%, there's no more to give. So here's where we find out which processes are using how much. And you can see that these numbers don't add up to 100%. The reason is because by default, in the Processes tab, Windows does not show you processes that are being used. So we're going to go ahead and click on Show Processes from All Users. Now we have a really good approximation of everything that's being used. The system idle process here I get asked a lot about, and it is the CPU time that is not being used as a percentage. So it's fluctuating here, as you can see, between about 75 and 85%. And then we have our recording program here, and we have some other processes that are using the CPU time. No big deal because we still have a lot of processing time available to us. However, if you're up around 100%, 80, 85, 90, 100%, you're going to want to find out which processes are using all that CPU time. Here we can see which ones are using all of our CPU time. I want to show you something else. Your browsers, a lot of times when you have, say, Google Chrome open and you have multiple tabs, like this, you're going to have a bunch of Chrome processes. You're also going to have a bunch of SVC host processes. This is perfectly normal. Okay? See all these Chrome processes here? Since I've opened Chrome and I've added more tabs, this is the way that Chrome operates. It's perfectly okay to have all those Chrome processes there. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, back to discussing why our computer would be so slow. So we've cleaned the temporary files, both on the computer and in the browsers. We've looked at the task manager and we've determined that our CPU usage is not too high. And we've determined that we have plenty of memory left. Okay? But why else would our computer be so slow? Well, first we need to determine whether or not it's the whole computer that's really slow, or if it's only when we're on the internet. If it's only when we're on the internet, cleaning up the browser cache should have taken care of the problem. However, it could also be that your router or your modem is having a problem, or it could be a service issue. All right? But if your computer overall is slow, starting up, shutting down, using any kind of program, not just the internet, one very possible cause for that is the fact that your hard drive is going bad. This is if there's no other reason why you could possibly think of that your computer would be so slow. It's very, very possible that your hard drive is just going bad. In that particular case, you're going to want to make sure that your data is backed up. And the more important that your data is, the more places that you want to have it. Lesson number 1, make sure that your important data is always backed up. Okay? Lesson number 2, the more important your data is to you, like your family's pictures, etc., if they're only on one computer and nothing else, you will want to back up that data not just to one device, but to multiple devices. We never ever trust just one device to carry our data. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this has been very helpful to you. Please call us at any time on the number on your screen, and we are happy to answer any questions and help you in any way that we can. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you again from Dave Glick, Glick's Mobile Computer Repair and Business IT Services in Phoenix, Arizona.